there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Garden. Welcome to the OCGFAM Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments down there. We'll talk about it after the show. Right now, let's just get into the show. How do you bring down the pH in your soil? We've talked about this several times, and I think we've covered it pretty well, but we had a clip a couple viewer questions ago that I want to show you today that was particularly concise and comprehensive all at the same time, if that's possible. And I think you might find it helpful, especially if you're dealing with this topic. So please watch the clip, and I'll talk to you after.
Hey, Bob and Kahuna Beard. I know how to bring soil pH up, Calpril, Ollie, Seltzer, etc., but I'm not sure how to bring it down. Gaia Flush, I know I use elemental sulfur for my blueberries. So, yeah, Gaia Flush. Yeah.
Well, that's one.
Well, briefly, what's that one?
Well, the Gaia Flush is just because it's acidic and it really drops your pH down really heavy. So a lot of people just, let's say you're at 7.2 in your soil, things are kind of locking up, you got a mag deficiency because your pH is too high. A lot of guys will use about 1 to 2 tablespoons of Gaia, get their pH into that 5.8 to 6.0, soak down the soil to kind of react those base and that alkalinity that's creating that high pH, stripping it with the low pH Gaia, then they kind of balance and the plant can still eat the Gaia while reducing the pH in the soil.
They're kind of evening out together, you're low and it's higher, kind of coming into a range, hopefully.
Now, there are gardens, like I've got one guy in the East Coast that we've been battling a high pH issue in his soil forever. He had some Alaskan humus or a humus compost that was very rich in humate, pH at about 4.5, like a peat moss. If you're going into flower and you're chronically at 7.5 pH in the soil, put in a ½ inch of a humic-based compost. Having that as a layer, so now you're adding microbes, you're adding tilth into the soil, but you've also got a constant leaching of organic humic acid, leaching in, reducing the pH with your Gaia feeds. So we were able to get his pH back down into range a lot more efficiently with a top dress of, a good organic acidic compost. And I like the Alaskan humus because it is just rich, black, dank earth. Mycorrhiza loves to live in it. Bacteria is thriving in it, and it reduces the high pH in soils a lot faster than trying to flush pH out. The downfall of flushing pH out is I got a really high pH and my plants aren't eating. Now I'm trying to fix it with a low pH nutrient which they won't eat. Yeah. So you are really relying on that one little reaction where this 7.5 and this 5.5 are reacting to give the plant a little bump of food, but then they kind of balance back out into a lockout again. So just correcting it with Gaia isn't the best answer. It's a Band-Aid to like the Olympus Up Seltzer. Okay, yeah. That's what he's like, going really low, going really high with the pH and bring it back down with the carbonic acid, carbonated water. Sure. That creates instant alkalinity and instant pH correction for the plant to consume while balancing the pH back up in the soil. Where if you're on the other end of that, from too much alkalinity in your water, your pH has gotten too high, you just need to put the organic acids back in, which would be like a really good clean peat moss, a really good Alaskan humus, or Gaia flushes with one or those two things in there.
What kind of time frame am I looking at when I'm doing these things? A couple days, couple weeks?
Yeah,
or?
a couple days.
Okay.
2 to 3 days, depending on... Now, if your water's the issue, because a lot of these people that have high pH issues, it's not as common. Yeah. If you constantly have that high pH issue, then, you kind of got to look at your water source going, man, no matter what I do to bring my pH down, my water's always depositing this high pH in the soil, because it's built into your water. That if you have high calcium carbonate water, that's going to build up in the soil and create high pH in your soil.
So 4 or 5 days go by, I'm not seeing results. I got a bigger issue here.
Yeah, you really need to start with a more acidic potting soil to kind of create that balance, or you need a reverse osmosis or at least a sediment filter to pull out the chunks of calcium carbonate so that that water can kind of react a little bit better to the nutrition.
Would I be doing any kind of foliar feeding while I'm doing this?
Well, it always helps, because if they're not eating here, then you got to try to be feeding them up there. But,
okay.
Yeah. A lot of times, though, when they're seeing this issue, they're in mid-bloom. Oh, and because they've residually built up over the period of time. We usually see the high pH kick people's butt in the mid-bloom because it's been 12 weeks of watering in alkaline water that's built up into the soil. Now the pH is too high because they haven't ever reacted.
It's just been creeping up, but I haven't seen any issues with it. And I get really into bloom. We're really pumping now, and it all cascades. Okay,
what do you think? Informative, entertaining, helpful? Let me know in the comments, and if it brought up any questions, comments, or if you have other questions you're thinking about that you want answered in the viewer questions episode, because we got one of those coming up soon. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.